Hello and welcome back to Motion RC. I'm your product specialist, Wesley, and today we are checking out a classic in the Freewing lineup. This is the A-4 Skyhawk. Now, this airplane's been around for a while, but it's still a very popular model, and we figured we'd come back, revisit it a little bit, and check out some of the new features. So without further ado, let's get this thing out of the box, and let's start going over this model. All right, so now that we have our model out of the box, let's go on and get all the plastic off. This is the time you want to kind of just check over your model, see if there was any damage in shipping. If there's not, you'll be ready for our next step where we start the assembly of this aircraft. All right, for the first step in assembling the A-4 Skyhawk, we need to glue the aft portion of the A-4 onto the aircraft. Take that provided white tube of glue that comes in the kit. We're going to smear that around on the inside of this, not too thick because you don't want to squirt out the sides, but you do want it thick enough that it makes a good bond. Once you put the tail section on, you can pull it on and off several times to let air get into that glue. It will become stringy. Once you feel like it's gotten stringy, then you can put it on for the last time and set the fuselage aside for a little bit while it dries. All right, pilots, at this point you have your back section of your aircraft installed. We need to get our elevator and rudder assembly put together. First step in the process is to slide one side of your elevator in. You want to start with the side that has the carbon rod already pre-installed inside of it. Once you have that slid in all the way, you're going to take your other elevator half and slide it on, lining up the two white plastic pieces that key in on the elevator halves. Make sure this lines up good. It should not need to be forced on. Once you have that assembly in there, you're going to flip the elevator and rudder assembly upside down, and you'll see 4 countersunk places for your screws to go. You're going to take your FA 3x8 screws and install all 4 of those in the bottom section. Once that's complete, we can take our push rod and put it in. Now your push rod is going to go to the most outer hole, then it's going to go over to the elevator. Now remember, you want to get it as close as you can, but when you turn this on the first time, it could be a little bit off and you may need to adjust this. Once you have it clipped on, there's a white retaining clip that's going to snap onto the servo itself and hold that rod attached. Then we'll move on to the next part, where we get this installed onto the fuselage. All right, pilots, now that we're ready to get our elevator and rudder installed, what we need to do is go on and pull the wooden board out that the battery sets on, because it's going to make a lot cleaner install if we run our wires underneath that tray and get it all the way to the front. Now your aircraft is going to come with the metal come get 'em wire. What you need to do is take that wire and put it through from the back to the front and get ready to pull our wires through the fuselage. Once we have them up to the front, we can run them under that tray and up to the front where the multi-function control board is of the aircraft. Once you have your wires up to the front of the fuselage, we need to plug them into the control board. It's as simple as plugging them into the correct spot. They're both labeled elevator and rudder, and make sure your colors go the same way as the other ones that are in that row. Once you have your wires in there, it's time to simply take our wooden tray and place it back over top, being sure not to pinch any wires. After we've done that, it's as simple as sliding down the rudder and elevator onto the back section of the fuselage and taking your remaining FA 3x8 screws and screwing the rudder onto the aircraft. All right, pilots, at this point, it is time to get our wings installed on the A-4. Now, the A-4 kit is going to come with 2 smaller carbon spars. These are going to be glued into the wing panels. What you're going to do is take a little bit of your glue, put it on the spar, slide it down into the wing until it stops. Once you have it all the way in, let that dry for just a minute, and then we're going to take the main spar, the bigger one, slide it into the fuselage, then slide our 2 wing halves on. When we do that, we need to plug in our multi-function control board, then slide it in and make sure not to pinch the wires. Finally, you're going to take those 4 remaining screws from the kit that are the machine threads with the bigger button head on them and get those installed into the wing to attach them. Now pilots, while we're here, I've gone on and flipped the airplane over now that we have the wings on it. I'm going to go on and slap the magnetic nose cone on. Once again, that's just magnetic, so you just get it close and that's going to key in just like that. At this point, it's time to take and put our favorite receiver in the aircraft. You can use whatever brand you'd like in our models. For me, I'm going to be using one of our Lemon RXs in here, 7 channels. That way I can take advantage of the thrust reversing feature. But like I said, you can use anything you choose at this point. I'm going to go on and get that installed in the aircraft, and we'll meet back after that when we get it fired up and put the gear down and such. All right, pilots, now that we have everything powered up with our receiver in the model, it's time to go around and make sure all our control surfaces are level and flat around the model. We can also go on and confirm that our elevators and our ailerons and our rudders are all going the right direction. Then we can test the landing gear. So, if you have a flight stand like this, it's easy to check the gear. Just make sure that they're clear of everything and then flip the switch. Very cool. And the nice thing on the A-4, let me flip it over, is it actually has the twist and turn landing gear. So yeah, let's flip those again for you and show you what those actually look like. So cool. Love it. And now we can take the airplane out of the flight stand. Now that we have the model down here on its landing gear, I wanted to show you this is a great grass fields jet because it has that full suspension. Let's see here. You can see that nose wheel is really made to take a hit, and the mains are spring-loaded, trailing link. As you can see, they can take quite some abuse. Customers that have had an Avanti, these are very similar to that. So this is a great grass field jet, and it has plenty of power. Now the other cool thing is this aircraft does have our thrust reversing ESC in it right out of the box now. So you're going to be able to use those brakes whenever you land and you kind of have to roll out far on a nice paved runway. Now in the box, you're going to notice that the A-4 actually comes with this little hump also. What you'll see is you can just take and clip that right in the top, and that changes you from different versions of the A-4, just as simple as taking that on and off. When you take the battery in and out, you do have to remove the hump in order to get in there. Very cool. Well, now it's time to start getting into putting all our peripherals on. Now, the A-4 does come with a full ordnance package. We do need to go around the model and glue in the 4 rails, 2 for the drop tanks and 2 for the rockets. Then we have our front long piece that sticks out the front. That is actually the refueling tube for the A-4. Then you have your 2 guns off to the sides of both wings, leading edges. Then you have your tail hook. And then you have a little probe that goes on the back section of the fuselage. All right, pilots, now that I let the pylons dry for a little bit, it's time to go on and install our little drop tanks and missiles. It's super easy on this aircraft. They just magnet onto the pylons, like so. You can just clip them around the aircraft. You want to make sure those pylons have had a little bit of time to dry though. And same thing with the ordnance on the outside, they just clip in. Now that we have the airplane flipped back over, what we need to do is install these little pieces right here, right in the side of the fuselage. Now, you can do this a couple different ways with CA or whatever else you want, but for now we're just going to use the glue that came with the kit and push them into the side of the aircraft. Then up on the top of the turtle deck, you'll actually see there's a place for this little antenna to slide right in there in the top. Once again, take a little bit of glue and slide it in. Now there's just one antenna left. This goes under the nose cone. It might be easier for you to just unclip it and push this little guy into it. So pilots, that gets the A-4 assembly done. As you can see, it is a beautiful looking little model. If you haven't checked one of these out yet, I highly recommend it. It's a great flying model that's beloved by many hobbyists around the world that have had a chance to fly one of these beautiful Freewing models. As always, here at Motion RC, don't forget, whether it's air, land, or sea, you can get it right here at Motion RC. And until next time, hit that subscribe button, tell your friends about this channel, come learn some RC products with us. We'll see you in the next episode. Bye guys.